Yeah, it's a Thursday. It's this Thursday. It's 10. It's 14. So
Hello, 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 hello.
it would help if I had this with me. Trying to do the sharing. Just becoming ever increasingly difficult. Shall we say? We are supposed to have a guest. No idea where he is yet, but that's okay. It's still a tiny bit early.
Okay.
I'm not quite freaking out yet. So let's see. How many political shares we can get? Yeah. We can start.
Hopefully by next month I'll have my new set built, my background set, so I
Hmm.
don't have the sheet anymore. I found the pieces that I needed for the background set for the computer. I'm gonna build kind of like a computer in back of me with like little flashy like little flashy blinky lights. So
Oh well, yeah, of course, flashy blinky.
well, they're not going to be toward the camera. They should be somewhere because
Why are you even giving that comment? Why? It was an absolute
Why am I giving that comment traction?
correct.
Because
Yes, I mean that's
it is.
exactly. It's exactly correct. Why are you doing such a thing? My goodness. Okay. 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 You know, I don't know where guest is. That's all right. We'll get through this. as we usually do. My goodness, am I tired. I told you I started sleeping like during my lunch breaks.
Mm-hmm.
I did today for about 40 minutes. I blinked and 40 minutes went past.
Wow.
Yeah. I literally I started setting an alarm. Make sure I get up. Nobody's on, right? It's Wednesday. Nobody's on. Nobody's on yet.
No, Gretchen is on it on Friday at 9.
Nobody's on after us. Okay.
No. Everybody's on.
Where did you go? There you are. Thank you. Oh, I didn't rewind.
Yeah.
Well, let's do this thing, shall we?
Sure.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair? We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy, and the change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble. Did you see the brain just not fire there? Did you see that? Did you see that? Time for new spark plugs. Did you see how the fuel didn't catch fire? Did you see how that happened? That was a brain cramp in real time. That was live. That was awesome. Wow. That said, welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, Western Hemisphere, North American continent, on this planet Earth, the only one we have. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is the Kennedy Effect, live with you for the 9th of October, TKE tonight, for the 9th of October 2024, and quite literally as we speak, yet another one of those 100-year, once in a century, blah 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 type hurricanes is coming and bearing down on Florida as we speak, and it's actually that which I intend to talk about with you mostly tonight, because I fear, you don't use that word lightly, to be honest with you, I fear that my temper is growing shorter and shorter and that my patients, and I don't mean medical patients, Patients, but patients as in take a deep breath and relax type patients, is wearing thin, if not gone. And I did something today that I have not done proactively, really, in the entire length of this shared American tragedy that is Trumpism. I have yet to unfriend someone on Facebook simply out of disagreement. I have unfriended people because they have threatened me. I have unfriended people because they want to kill me. I have threatened people because they've gotten the old, we know where you live. We know what your fiance looks like. We know what the dog looks like. We know where you are. Things like that. I've had trolls. And some of them actually professionals with way more of a social media platform and presence than I, but yet they come. And today I finally had to unfriend someone out of sheer, well, my patience is gone, as I said, but also I had to do it out of principle and out of just ignorance. And respectfully, not ignorance on my part, but ignorance on theirs. And the realization that this person is not only ignorant, but now willfully ignorant, choosing to be stupid. And not just contrarian, not just to say that this person, we all have a friend like that who's just a contrarian. And just, four mates go out for a pint to watch the football match, and there's always one that just has to disagree and rub everyone else the wrong way. Well, we all know those folks. And so I had to, for the first time today, unfriend someone just out of their mind-boggling ignorance and stupidity. And again, not just contrarianism, but just the falsehood of it, the absolute neck deep in bullshit of it. So I did. And what this person posted was a meme with 3 different dollar amounts on it. That the United States was spending this much money on Israel, this much money on Ukraine, and $750 on hurricane relief in North Carolina. When the sitting Republican senator from North Carolina said that was a lie, and yet you ignorant sheep continue to think somehow that all of this is true. It almost makes you wish that some of these folks were in the path of the hurricane. Except that would be a terribly unchristian thing to do. To any of our listeners around the United States, and especially in the path of Hurricane Milton, please stay safe. If you're in a hotel in another state and you happen to be streaming this, thank you. Please drop some notes in the comments. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know if you're okay. And we will be talking about the hurricane, I think, at least that's the plan, a little bit throughout the program, but our guest is here, so let me get to our guest. Let me get to the business end of the program very quickly. This is TKE Tonight for October the 9th, 2024, the Kennedy Effect tonight for Wednesday, October 9. We are live right now on Ghost Call Productions on, oh, he disappeared. Perhaps a bad connection. Regardless, I need to do the business end anyway, don't I? We are live right now on Ghost Claw Productions on Facebook. We are live on my personal Facebook, which is Jeff Kennedy, and we are live on our home group Facebook page for everything that surrounds this program. That other side of information on Facebook. If you don't know the name of the group by now, I don't know how to help you people. You gotta listen. I don't know how to help you. I'm so sorry, but I just don't know. It's called That Other Side of Information on Facebook. We're live there right now. We're also live on our YouTube channel, which is also called That Other Side of Information. And please remember that I continue to maintain with you that our Facebook channel, our YouTube channel, I'll get my terms all mixed up here, that our YouTube channel is the best place ever to catch up on the program. If there's ever an episode that you should happen to miss, if you were with us for part of the program, couldn't see the rest of it, or our Sunday programs, which are 3 and 4 hours long, couldn't watch all of it at one time, YouTube, always the best place to catch up. We should be also live right now on the YouTube for GCPR. I hope that I am. I tried to cross-post it. I don't even know if that works or not, to be honest, but I think it does. I don't know. George is shaking his head, so I guess it doesn't. It says, YouTube says you can create a post and post the video on other pages, but it doesn't seem, I don't know if it's actually working or not. Maybe he can, but I can't. I don't even know. Oh, it did work? Oh, good. That's awesome. I didn't know that actually worked. I just started to do, I think it worked one night and then it somehow seemed to be a different thing. But anyway, so we're live there as well. We are live on our Twitch channel, which is simply my name. If you go to Twitch, search Jeff R, middle initial R, Kennedy, you will find us. We have a Twitch channel. We're there right now and we are live. And we're also live on my LinkedIn page, which is also my name, Jeff Kennedy. So our guest is back. Perhaps a bad connection. It happens. Not a biggie. No worries. We were going to be here one way or another, but it's a better show with Joe in the house. Joe Lenzi is the Democratic nominee and candidate for the Pennsylvania State House.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Joe? You all right?
Hello?
Yeah, Joe, can you hear us? Make sure that your volume's turned up. All that fun stuff. We got you on this end. Any luck, Joe?
Hello?
Joe, can you hear us?
Joe, turn your volume up on your speaker. And we'll try to message Joe in the background. Get earbuds. Okay. My guess is that on Joe's end, his speaker's turned down, which is a very smart thing to do, by the way, because the sound will reverberate and will echo. So my guess is Joe's trying to be careful, which I appreciate a great deal. But in this case, it's not quite working. So let me continue. The audio of the program, of course, blasting around the globe via GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions Radio, .live, GCPR.live is our website, www.gcpr.live. That's where you can find out everything about GCPR, find our schedule, find out about the shows, all the different hosts, when you can listen, how you can listen, where you should listen, all of it. And a special hello to our GCPR listeners outside of the United States. We really appreciate you giving us a chance. It is pretty natural for folks inside the United States to listen to us. We're based here. So much of what we talk about is going to be based here as well. But to the rest of you around the globe, especially outside the United States, a special hello to you. and thank you for being here. Are we having any luck, Joe? Can you hear us? It doesn't appear that he can. He's not answering his message. So let me try one quick thing. I want to talk very quickly. How do I not have him? I swear I have his phone number. I don't appear to. I could have swore I did. I thought I had his phone number, but it doesn't appear. Maybe I did. Nope, I do have it. Turn up the volume on your speaker on your end, and or get some earbuds. I see you and hear you, but you cannot hear us for some reason. There's a text. Okay, let me talk hurricane. Hurricane Milton is a Category 5 storm. It has already set some records, if records is even the right term for it. It has set a precedent, if you will. It is exceptionally unique. I was watching the Weather Channel a bit before I came up into the studio to be with you here tonight. That this storm has done something that apparently no other storm has done. And that is, after it left the Yucatan Peninsula and went back out over open water into the Gulf of Mexico. By the way, the water temperature in the Gulf of Mexico, if I'm not mistaken, is above 90 degrees. It's like bath water, even in the deepest parts of the Gulf. So that extra moisture and energy is just being pulled up into the storm, fueling it, making it stronger. It was a Category, I believe, 3 when it left Mexican territory, so to speak, went off land into Mexican or into the Gulf, I should say, into the Gulf, and intensified to Category 5. It then, for reasons that I am not privy to because I work for a living and I was at work for 10 hours today, it had dropped back to a Category 4, and forecasters and weather not geologists, my goodness, where did I get that from? Meteorologists were beginning to think that the storm was going to weaken and that it may hit the Florida West Coast as a Category 3, which would still be bad enough because the storm surge is expected to set a record. Then something happened. It re-intensified to a Category 5. And so now, within the next few hours, the Weather Channel was saying it could be as early as 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So perhaps by the time that we leave you, it could be actually make landfall. Randall tells me now that it is fallen back again to a Category 3. Also, if you see some of the video of this from space, from the International Space Station, you see just a massive storm. And yet, NOAA, NASA, and the National Hurricane Center would tell you the storm is actually quite compact. The wind field might be large and spread out. It may look enormous from space. Even on radar, it looks quite large. But it's actually quite compact for a storm of its power. And it can only be somewhat good news that it has dropped down a bit as it will make landfall. But the damage, some of the, It's kind of like watching disaster porn, but it is a bit of a tradition in this country now to watch the Weather Channel when big weather events are happening. And to see, Jim Cantori out in the middle of a storm and all the other folks that are spread around the region, and to see just how bad the winds are, how bad the flooding is, and so on. It's something to behold. It's not something that you want to be a part of. And it's the same way that we watch the Weather Channel during big snowstorms, and when these guys are standing on top of plowed piles of snow that are 30 feet high and things like that. It's also a way to learn, and it's a way to see what's happening. So for our listeners and viewers that may be in Florida in the path of the storm, I hope you are gone. I hope you are in a completely different state, completely different region even. Hell, I hope you booked yourself a tropical vacation somewhere out in the U.S. Virgin Islands and wait to watch the storm blow through the peninsula of Florida. I hope you are safe. I hope you are sound. I hope you listened to the authorities from the federal government and even inside the state of Florida. And again, even after Ron DeSantis' political stunt yesterday of ignoring a phone call from Vice President Harris, he has taken calls from President Biden, and he has been honest, at least in saying that President Biden has provided Florida every single thing they've asked for, and that their response has been rapid, it has been thorough, it's been quick, it's been complete, and they have been denied nothing. So let me take you back again to what I was trying to talk about before we were trying to get connected with Joe. And this is why last night I told you that Joe was a scheduled guest, because this stuff always seems to happen. And it's not a big deal. We have 3 weeks till Election Day. Joe will be with us. We'll get that taken care of. Just seems to be having technical problems on his end, of which I can't explain. I actually should send George his contact to see if we can't get this sorted within a reasonable amount of time, that we can still get him on, and I will try to continue to speak to you while I do that. So I had to unfriend someone today. Monday, I told you that it was time to stop playing nice. That it was time to start asking these folks, or time to start telling these folks, start talking to them directly, start talking to them more bluntly, if I didn't just make the word, and to call them out, and to name them and tell them exactly who they are. And I had to do that today. I had to do that with someone on Facebook today. Now, I told you at the beginning, I've unfriended people before, mostly because they are either trolling me, trying to put up weird and fake posts that will get me in trouble with law enforcement. They've tried to dox me, or they've said, we know where you live and we're going to come kill you. And look, I've never pretended to be some long-lost son of the former president or former senator, but I am part of the family, albeit distantly. So we're used to getting killed for our political beliefs. Happens all the time. But I've had to unfriend some people for things like that. Today, I had to unfriend someone just because she was being so monumentally ignorant and lying at such a bald-faced level that I simply couldn't take it anymore. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm not going to... I also reported her post, by the way, as being dangerous, harmful to human life, and, well, Facebook uses the words misinformation. It's just a big effing fat lie. But I'm thinking maybe this is because this woman now is she's one of the irredeemables. We talked Monday about irredeemables. She's one of the irredeemables. So I'm not going to miss her. I'm not going to lose any sleep. But when you're in media, when you're in a media business as I am, as George is, as everybody at GCPR is, and everybody at Hot 101 is, you kind of don't push away listeners. You don't push away people who follow you. But sometimes the ignorance is so stupendous, in order to keep your sanity, you kind of have to. And that's what we did today. And I would only encourage you all to consider doing the same thing. It is time to call these people out for exactly who they are. If they are lying, call them out for it. If they're flat out effing ignorant, call them out for it. If they're being racist, call them out for it. It's beyond time. We're past time to be nice now. Anywhere from 30 to 47% of the country wants to end the country. They want this election solved at the point of an AR-15. And then they want a person of color on the firing end of that AR-15 so they can kill them. This is about the survival of the United States. I was able to listen this morning to a pretty good chunk of Howard Stern's interview with Vice President Harris. Now, it was actually recorded yesterday. I'm fortunate enough to have Sirius XM satellite radio. I think it's worth every penny, to be honest with you. So I was listening. They were replaying the interview this morning. I was listening as much as I could. And Howard Stern said to her, I lose sleep over this. I stress out over this. Why don't these people understand? This is about the survival of the nation as a nation, as we've always known it. And the vice president said, you're exactly correct. Because that's exactly what this is. And one thing that I felt took a little bit of solace in, if you will, is that neither Howard Stern, anyone on his program, or even the vice president herself can completely comprehend this phenomena that is Trump and Trumpism. That his most ardent supporters are the ones he could care the least about. The poor, the uneducated, the rednecks, the southern white racists. He doesn't give a flying shit about you because you don't have enough money. He doesn't care how educated you are. He doesn't care if you live or die. In his opinion, and the billionaires that own him, you don't contribute enough to the economy to matter. He doesn't think you deserve an education, that you deserve health care, that you should have a chance to be part of a union, that you should have a home or a car, let alone the ability to take a holiday once or twice a year. And yet they're the most ardent supporters for a very simple reason, and one that I haven't been willing to agree with, but I'm forced now. It's kind of like Occam's razor. When all the other explanations are explained away, what you're left with must be the truth. And I just butchered that, Georgia. He hates who you hate. He's given you permission to be the hateful, racist people that you are. He made it okay. He made it okay to be vile, to be mean, to be angry, to be vicious, to be violent. He made it okay to lie and just spew anything that comes out of your face and treat it as truth. He hates who you hate. He doesn't represent you. He doesn't represent who you hate. He represents who owns him, and by extension, they own you. But he hates who you hate. He knows everything that you're afraid of, and he beats you over the head with it. And you're too ignorant to know better. And ultimately, that's what this election is going to come down to. And that's a shame. It is that ultimately is what this election comes down to. Truth versus fiction. Will the United States continue to be a nation? Will we continue to be a functioning nation? Will we continue to be the nation that we grew up in? Will we continue to be the nation that we are proud of? Will we continue to be the nation that we want to be, that we aspire to be? And let's be honest, this is not about perfection. Even the founders called it the pursuit of a more perfect union. A more perfect union. With the presupposition that the United States would never be perfect, but that we would always strive for it. And that's okay. It is. It's okay. It's okay not to be perfect. We are born, in the image of God, unperfect, imperfect. I think it made a word. So this isn't even about a vision of. This isn't even really about two different visions of the United States. It's about whether the United States itself continues. It's not about, I want the country to go in this direction and you want it to go in that direction. I want to maintain a country, and you lot don't. The sheep, the cult, the followers. The 62%, no, it was higher than that. I'm forgetting the number now. I think it's the 62% of Republicans that say we don't necessarily need this nation to continue. The 54% that say they're willing to have a dictator and willing for this election to be the last one. The 74% of Republicans that believe that Putin is a better leader of his country than Joe Biden is of this one. That is what this election is about. So it's time to start calling them out. There's no more bridges to be built. Should we continue to speak to our Republican brothers and sisters, friends, family, coworkers that are willing to listen and have civil discourse? You're damn right we should. every single time we should talk to them. To independents, non-affiliated, green, libertarian, conservative, liberal, democratic socialist. Should we be talking to all of them? Yes. Should we be trying to encourage everyone we know to vote and exercise their constitutional right to do so? Yes. But the irredeemables, no thanks. We're done now. You must be defeated, embarrassed, called out, castigated, set aside. Not just because you have different policy beliefs than me, but because you don't want this country to exist anymore. And I do. And God willing, and I don't say that to be funny. God willing, more people feel the way I do than feel the way the irredeemables do. 8:35, this is TKE Tonight for October 9th, 2024. We're less than 30 days away. I think, in fact, today is day 26. I think I'm doing math in my head. It's never a good thing. And if you see smoke, I'm doing math in my head. 26 days away. I'm pretty sure I have that right for until the end of this election cycle. I think George is still trying to work with Joe, although we're rapidly running out of time. He's the best. I've told you 1,000 times how good of a man that man is right there, George. I don't know what the hell he's friends with me for. He's got so much better things to do with his time, but he does it anyway. What a blessing that man is right there. I think he's still actually on trying to work with Joe. I don't know at this point if Joe is going to join us or not. It's perfectly okay if he doesn't. That's why God created tomorrow. We'll be back Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. We'll get it worked out. Not a big problem. I'm good. We're okay. So, and I want to give Joe his full time too, even if we somehow do get this all sorted out tonight. It's just a technical thing, not a big deal. But even if we do get all this sorted out tonight, we're approaching the end of the program, so I don't want to shortchange Joe either. If he's still out there, if you're still out there listening, Joe, hopefully you are. We'll get it worked out. It's not a big deal. We're in good shape. George is telling me that we're going to try another time because he kind of needs to do this on a laptop. Joe was trying to do it on his phone. Not a biggie. We're all good. It'll happen. I'm not worried about it at all. So apologies to you if you tuned in to hear from Joe Lindsay, a really good guy, by the way. And I'm not just saying that because we're both Democrats. I mean, there are Democrats across this country that I don't agree with and I wouldn't vote for. Not many, to be honest, but there's some that I wouldn't vote for. I might leave that particular line item blank. Joe is one of the really good guys. He just is. He's just a good guy. He works hard. He's a family man, maintains himself, his home. He wants all the things that you and I want and that every American wants. Perfectly willing to work and work hard. He simply wants to earn enough to take care of himself, keep a home, keep a roof over his head, get his kids in school, in a good, decent school, be safe, keep a car, maybe make enough money to go on a vacation once or twice a year. He's a good guy. He's a family man. He's a salt of the earth, blue collar guy. He doesn't need me to pump all that stuff up too. You'll learn that when he comes back. When he comes back to visit the program. So if you tuned in tonight to hear from Joe, apologies. Just a little bit of a technical thing. It's perfectly okay. He's fine. We're fine. Just a little tech not quite working. We'll get Joe back on the program and you'll get to meet him and hear from him as well. Let's continue. This is TKE Tonight for the 9th, 2024. 26 days, I think I'm right about that, before the end of this election cycle. I beg you folks, if you have signed up for a mail-in ballot, get it in. We are rapidly approaching the time where you cannot trust the Postal Service to get it back where it needs to be. And if you don't have a plan yet to vote, then by God, please make one. Vote, 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 vote. Don't let your vote be taken for granted. Don't let it be taken from you. Don't waste it. Don't throw it away. Don't sit home. Be an active part of this democracy and vote. Make a plan and vote. If it's by mail, if it's absentee, if it's in person, however it is, please vote. Please make a plan and vote. If you are in a state with early voting, try to vote early. Get it done. Get it out of the way. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about weather or anything like that. If you are voting by mail, I would say once you get past maybe October 20th, 2 weeks really, I think is the minimum. If you get inside of the 2-week mark and you haven't mailed that ballot yet, I wouldn't. I would drive it directly to a drop box and drop it in yourself. If you have it in your hands now and you're done, put it in the mail. Be done with it. Get it back. Make sure it gets counted. And by God, George makes an excellent point, which he's allowed to turn the microphone on and say, by the way, texted. You're allowed to say these things, sir. Texted to me in the background, don't be intimidated out of your vote. It's your vote. Don't let anybody intimidate you from using it. Your vote is your voice, and you deserve to be heard. So go be heard. TKE for the 9th. We are live on Ghost Claw Productions on Facebook, my personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and the group Facebook for all things surrounding the program, That Other Side of Information. I would love to tell you how many places. Oh, wait, I goofed. Hold on. I completely goofed because I clicked on the wrong thing. I would love to tell you how many places we have shared the program to, but I can't find it. So I can't find it. So I'm not sure. It was a bunch. That's all I know. It was a bunch. We are live on our YouTube channel right now, That Other Side of Information. Live on Twitch, Jeff R. Kennedy. Live on LinkedIn, Jeff Kennedy as well. Phone line is open, 267-22... Try that again. 267-227-9189. 267-227-9189. Comments. We love your comments. I believe this is Randall. I'm trying to do two things. Okay, this is Randall. All the weather reporters are in roofed over parking garages, keep stating that unlike covering other hurricanes by going out into the winds, they're not going to do that because of the massive amounts of debris that is still piled up from Hurricane Helene. And they are worried about getting hit from that, and I don't blame them one damn bit. One thing I would say, I know this might sound a little weird, I guess. I love radio and television, and I've done radio and television since I was in high school. Whether I'm any good at it or not, I will let you decide that. But I love it, and I've always loved it. And I have to say, even though the reporters on the Weather Channel do put themselves in genuine danger, gosh, it looks like fun. It just kind of looks like fun to do these things and to be on the ground in the middle of history. And I got to tell you, it looks a little more fun in the winter during some of the big snowstorms, although even then it can get brutally cold. But it looks a little bit more fun during some of the big fluffy snow. But, hey, it just kind of looks like fun to me. I don't know. But Randall's right. I did see Jim Cantori earlier tonight. He was in the ground floor of a parking garage and was already knee-deep in water and had said that he was going to be moving up to the second level. He was in a if I remember correctly, 6-story parking garage with the top story, of course, being open to the air. So he thought he would be safe. He also had made a line on one of the pylons to show how high the water was during Helene, which was 6 feet. and then began to show you how high the storm surge was expected to be for Milton, which was double or even triple that. Imagine 2 entire floors of a parking garage being underwater. A story in building terms in the United States, I think, is generally considered 10 feet, or is it 12? Like a story, like when you say a building is 10 stories, I think each quote unquote story is 10 feet. So imagine Jim Cantore having to go to the 3rd floor and be 30 feet above ground level to keep himself out of the storm surge. It's really quite something. I think this is Randall as well. I'm not 100% sure. The way our mail is here, I wouldn't trust mailing a ballot ever. Remember, Trump put Louis DeJoy in charge of the post office to destroy it. His job was to degrade the post office to such a point where it was non-functional and that you would lose faith in it and not use it anymore. They destroyed multi-mega million-dollar sorting machines that increased the speed and efficiency of the movement of mail. And remember, the post office is actually specifically mentioned in the Constitution. It can't be destroyed and it can't be privatized. It's in the Constitution as a governmental duty. I think this is Randall as well. I use a ballot drop box here in my borough in front of my police station, which is under 24-hour surveillance. Don't let anybody lie to you and tell you that mail-in balloting is unsafe or unsecure, insecure. Grammar. I'm having a grammar night.
Insecure. It's about 14 feet for 1 story.
Is it really?
That's what it says.
Wow. Okay. So if you were going to the 3rd floor, 14, 28, 42 feet. So Jim Cantore was talking about jumping straight to the 3rd floor because he was worried about the height of the storm surge. That's mental. When you think that's pretty mental. Here's what I would say about the mail. Drop boxes are completely secure. Period. End of story. They are under surveillance. They are locked. It's very much like a mailbox. You put your mail-in ballot in the top, it falls to the bottom. The place where you can put your envelope in is about this wide. You couldn't reach down in there if you needed to. If you needed to open it, you'd have to break it or blowtorch it or explode it. These are safe things and they are under surveillance. And the places where we happen to be here in the Lehigh Valley, the drop boxes that we have here in Northampton County, there are only certain hours that you can go to them because they are in county buildings, they're in government buildings. When no one else is in the building is locked up, and you can't access the box in the first place. No one can. Mail-in voting is perfectly safe and secure. Some other comments. This might be Randall as well. I got the same alert. I think it's Randall. No, Donna. Sorry, Donna. You got a news alert that Milton has made landfall as a Category 3. I just got the same one, except it disappeared off my phone before I could read it. Really happy. I hope it's a comment. Somebody checking me out on Twitch. I deeply appreciate you. Love your streaming. Love to support you. That's very kind of you. I hope you continue to be a listener, going forward. Twitch has been very, very quiet, unfortunately. I was hoping that Twitch would be more of a source of listenership. It hasn't quite gotten there yet, but that's okay. Hey, happens. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. I see some new names in the Facebook. A welcome to Chris and to Ryan as well. Let me get over to the Associated Press. See what's happening there. There was a couple stories I wanted to highlight. So Donna is exactly right. Hurricane Milton has made landfall as a Category 3. Trump offers prayers for people in the hurricane's path after lashing out at Harris and other women, because God knows that the women are somehow responsible for this hurricane. I have no idea. I've tried to be very, very careful about not drowning you all in my shall I say religious rebirth and the font and I don't want to say born again because I think it just has a connotation to it. But the fact that I have rediscovered my faith, I try not to drown you in that. I am not a pastor. I'm not a member of the clergy. But I continue, and I know that to a point, it has become almost a joke of sorts that the same God that you thank for keeping you alive is the same God that sent the storm or the tornado that destroyed your house. I mean, theology just says that. You know, when you see some Midwestern town that's been completely, you know, every building has been turned into toothpicks by an F5 tornado, and you'll hear the people interviewed afterwards and say, "That's just the house. I just want to thank God that I'm alive." Hey, I agree. If that was me, I'd probably thank God I was still alive too. But the same God that kept you alive is the one that sent the storm. Man, of course, has made them more dangerous. Quickly from the Associated Press, Michelle Price, Jill Colvin, and Will Weissert. From Scranton, PA, former President Donald Trump offered his prayers to those in the path of Hurricane Milton as it began to lash Florida, while continuing to insult his rival, Vice President Kamala Harris, and other women, saying he had no interest in stopping, even if it turned off female voters. When are you Trump-loving, cultist women's followers, sheep, gonna wake the F up? He doesn't give a flying anything about you. I refuse to drop an F-bomb in the program. Intentionally. It's going to happen by accident these days. George damn well knows it. It's going to happen by accident these days, but I'm not doing it intentionally. Quote, "I don't want to be nice," Trump said at his first of two rallies of the day in Pennsylvania. You know, somebody said, "You should be nicer. Women won't like it." I said, "I don't care." That's all you need to know. For 10 years, Trump has told you who he is. It's about goddamn time some of you people listen. For 10 years, he's told you who he is. Wake up and listen. I want to go to the Facebook page and read some of the articles that I had posted there, because I thought some of them were a bit kind of interesting, to be honest. And I think they're pretty darn good. And I think they're worth discussion. So I wanted to try to hit some of them. If you go to our home group Facebook page, one thing I kind of wanted to talk about, but I can't do it justice here because it's a picture and I can't call it up to show it to you. But there's a post I shared from Neil deGrasse Tyson, the famed astrophysicist. A picture from the Hubble Space Telescope where every dot in the picture is a star. The bottom picture is taken from the Herschel Space Observatory, where every dot is a galaxy. It is mind-boggling. Remember the Trump Bible? The God Bless the USA Trump Bible. Anybody want to hesitate a guess as to where those were printed, manufactured, bound, etc.? Yes, you guessed it, China. Remember how tough Trump was going to be on China? The United States never in its history had a higher trade deficit with China than it did during the Trump regime. Because he's full of shit. It's time to stop being nice. It's time to stop playing nice. It's time to talk at these people for exactly who they are. Trump's going to be tough on China? Bullshit. Our highest trade deficit with China was during the Trump administration. Period. If you want to return to it, how ignorant are you? People throughout the South struggling to make a living who think this man's going to help you, the man who gave us the largest trade deficit with China, who lost manufacturing jobs to China, the oldest and most unhealthy man ever to run for president in the history of this country. You think he's going to help you? Here's one that I wanted to get to before we finish up. This is from the AP. This is written by Alexa St. John. She is the author of this article for the Associated Press. It was posted this morning at 9:30. Human-caused climate change boosted devastating Hurricane Helene's rainfall by about 10% and intensified its winds by about 11%, scientists said in a new flash study released just as a strengthening Hurricane Milton threatens the Florida coast less than 2 weeks later. Now, again, this was written at 9:30 this morning, so Milton was still offshore. We now know during the course of our program, Milton has made landfall. The warming climate boosted Helene's wind speeds by about 13 miles an hour and made the high sea temperatures that fueled the storm 200 to 500 times more likely. World Weather Attribution calculated Wednesday from Europe. Ocean temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico were about 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit above average, said the organization. Quote, Hurricane Helene and the storms that were happening in the region anyway have all been amplified by the fact that the air is warmer and can hold more moisture, which meant that the rainfall totals, which, even without climate change, would have been incredibly high given the circumstances, were even higher. Ben Clark, a study co-author and climate researcher at Imperial College in London, said in an interview. Milton will likely be similarly juiced, said the author. Scientists warned that continued burning of fossil fuels will lead to more hurricanes like Helene with, quote, unimaginable floods well inland, not just on the coast. Many of those who died in Helene fell victim to massive inland flooding rather than high winds. Helene made landfall in Florida with record storm surge of 15 feet high and catastrophic sustained winds reaching 140 miles per hour, pummeling Georgia, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Virginia. It decimated remote towns throughout the Appalachians, left millions without power, cell service, and supplies, and killed over 230 people. Search crews in the days following continued to look for bodies. Helene was the deadliest hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland since Katrina in 2005. And do you people think Trump gives a shit about it? It's time to wake up. It's time to do better. to do better.
According to Marjorie Taylor Greene, we control the weather. So,
Right, Democrats did this, and they control the weather somehow.
was it kind of like the weather net on the planet Risa, where it's 72 degrees and sunny all the time.
Yep, Jewish space lasers.
Yep.
Another thing on our group Facebook page, real quick, before we sign off for the night. Another shared post from Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. The James Webb Telescope has been making headlines really since it took its place in the stars and started seeking out, looking for other planets and solar systems and so on. It has discovered one about 2.5 times the size of Earth. So the diameter, is it the diameter of the circumference? Yeah. The circumference of the Earth is about 25,000 miles, right? Roughly 1,000 miles plus per time zone. This one is 2.5 times. So 50, 60, say 63,000 miles in circumference, which of course would mean that its gravity is much larger as well. A planet called K2-18b. I really wish NASA would name planets the way they named them in Star Trek. That they would name the solar system, like Ceti Alpha 5, Ceti Alpha 6, the Ceti Alpha solar system, and then the third planet would be Ceti Alpha 3. Fourth would be Ceti Alpha 5. So anyway, it's called a sub-Neptune planet. It falls within the habitable, easy for me to say, habitable zone of a red dwarf star. It is a celestial body that has fascinated astronomers since it was discovered by Kepler in 2015. What makes this different is that it has water in the atmosphere. And they have recently also now discovered carbon monoxide and some methane, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide, along with trace amounts of ammonia. The methane and the carbon dioxide can only come from life. To think that we are alone in the vastness of this universe is beyond ignorant and just beyond ridiculous. We sure as hell are not. But I invite you to check out the story. We continue to find things in our universe that should humble us, that should really make us think, and that should humble us. And that even in the depths of this election season, things that should really make us think and kind of realize our place in the universe. We're not as special as we think we are. But at the same time, this is the only planet we have. We are not going to terraform Mars. We're not going to build a massive moon colony to save us from climate change here on Earth. We are either going to have to save ourselves or we won't. And if we don't survive. There is evidence that there have been as many as 6 different civilizations on this planet that have all perished long before this current incarnation of humans came along. Or maybe we're just another one in a series waiting to either blow itself up, choke us all to death with a lack of oxygen and temperatures outside so warm that we can't survive it. Maybe that's it. The Earth always survives. It might survive in a different state, but it will continue. The Earth is not going anywhere for at least another 4 billion years when it's absorbed by the sun, as the sun grows into a red giant before it ceases to function. We'll all be long gone by then. But if you are a young parent with children, if you're a grandparent and you look at the pictures of your children, some of the most deleterious effects of climate change could be seen as early as the end of this decade. They will have to grow up here. I won't live to see it. You may not live to see it, but your kids will, and your grandkids will. And if you're fortunate enough to have great grandkids, you're damn sure they will. But we can do better. There's nothing saying that we can't change this. Can we reverse it? I don't know. There actually are a couple of plants online, and I don't mean green leafy plants, I mean manufacturing plant, not manufacturing, it's not really the way to put it. Mechanical plants, maybe? Mechanical devices the size of factories that literally are giant fans. Not blowing cold air, but pulling in air, taking the carbon monoxide out, and sending the clean oxygen back into the atmosphere. If enough of these were stationed around the planet, we could hopefully begin to at least either level this off or fight back against it. But we're smart. We can walk and chew gum. We can be neck deep in this election cycle and still think about how we can maintain this planet and keep it habitable for generations to come. 9:06, that's the end of our program for tonight. Don't forget, you got a break. You got about an hour 45 break. Coming up at 11 p.m., Conversations with T. Nathan. Thomas returns tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. We will be back at 8 p.m., ending up the broadcast week. GCPR.live. And a special good night to our listeners outside the United States. For everybody surrounding GCPR, that's Thomas and T. Nathan and Ben and Brett and Pastor Best and Chuck and Simon and Gilbert and Gambit, Gretchen. For everybody I think I got everybody that time. For everybody surrounding our program, Lynn, George, Kristen, Daisy the dog, and of course, April Riddick. I'm Jeff Kennedy. We've done about all the damage we can do for one night. T. Nathan from 11, Thomas from 8 a.m. We'll be back here again in 23 hours. We'll see you tomorrow night. Please take care of yourselves and each other. You are listening to GCPR.live.